Hey guys, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel. Yeah, I'm doing this with no intro or anything. Still don't really look video ready, do I? But so I am coming on here immediately after watching the Adventures with Purpose video, and I didn't make any notes, so this is just gonna all be kind of off the cuff. My reactions. I'm emotional on a lot of different levels. I'm mad. I'm sad. I'm confused, and I'm going to address the mom's statement again after watching the video. That's why you see it up here. If you watched my video from earlier today, I made it clear that I understand that she's grieving, and that a lot of times when we grieve, there is misplaced anger and blame. And, I said we need to give them grace. And yes, we still need to give them grace because they are grieving. However, I learned so much in this video, and I would highly recommend becoming a member of the Adventures with Purpose YouTube channel. It's only $4.99, and even if you just become a member for this one video, it's worth it. So they went over like what led them to certain areas to search. They had a tip from a guy named Nick who had come to help Kiely with her car at some point during that weekend. They didn't show in the video, but this Nick, he works for a roadside service agency, and the trucks that they use, that they're dispatched out, have cameras on them, and it was facing the car, and it also picks up audio. And I want to say I'm sure, but I'm not. But hopefully, law enforcement has looked at that footage. From what he said, it seems there could be a lot answered from that footage, and it also brings up more questions. I won't go into it a whole lot, but I will just say there's a description of a person that was with Kiely, or who we presume to be Kiely. I don't want to say that for sure. And when he gives his description, my advice to you would either be go back and watch one of my earlier videos, or look up the interview. There's Steve. Sorry, guys. But go look up the interview that Jagger and Kate did shortly after Kiely's disappearance, when they were talking about he thought he would be the one to find her, and he seemed to think she was in Reno. Pay attention to the hat that he's wearing and his hair, and I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Like I said, I will dive deeper into the details of the video once it's out for everyone to watch, but I would really recommend you pay the $4.99 and watch it now. Don't wait. So they went and they cleared these areas based on information they'd been given, and then we know day 2 they went back out to Prosser, and let me just say that they handled themselves so well, so professionally, when they were in the water and they thought they found the car. They wanted to make sure that they didn't cause like chaos or an uproar. You can see there's people very close by, boating and what have you along the shoreline, and they were doing everything they could not to really draw attention to the fact that they thought they had found a car. And they, were saying to themselves, it was almost like they were trying to talk themselves out of it, like, maybe it's a boat. I mean, it doesn't really look like a boat, but maybe it's a boat. They did not want to find her. And they even, were like, well, maybe it's another car. Because on the imaging, the reading they were getting, it made them feel like there was some buildup on the car, and that seemed unusual for it only have been 2 weeks that it had been in the water. So one of the first things Doug did was tell everyone on their team that was out there in the boats to turn off their cell phones. And they showed them turning their cell phones off. They did not want to alert the family, law enforcement, or anybody of the potential find. I think the way he worded it was he didn't want to cause any unnecessary trauma if they had found a vehicle that was not Kiely's. They were very cognizant of that they did not want to cause any undue trauma to the family. To the point that when they found the car, Doug was very quiet, like when he put the magnet on the car, he said he didn't want to be too loud. He didn't want anybody to even hear him say, we've got a car. They came together and kind of discussed the situation there in the water and how they were going to handle it. They said, we don't want anybody to know what we're doing, but they needed to move their RV down closer. And if anyone asked, they were going to tell them that they were just moving locations. They really kept it under the radar, what was going on. They did eventually attach the buoy so they knew, where the target was that they needed to dive on. Nick suited up and he dove on the car. They do show the video. They blur out when the remains are seen. Nick goes down. He verifies that it is her car, and he begins to inspect the vehicle. One window was down, and the passenger side window that there's been all the speculation about was indeed, yes, halfway down. And Kiely was found in the back of the vehicle. The first thing he saw were her shoes. And when Nick came up, he was visibly upset. And he said, he reiterated about the windows, that she was in the back, and he said it looked suspicious and that they needed to call the authorities. Doug called Kiely's aunt. He said that was his only contact in the family, was the aunt, and he called her. He was so respectful. He said how sorry he was for the situation that they found themselves in, She asked questions, he answered them, and he told her not to tell, not to put it out there, that she could, I guess tell the family, but not, don't tell everybody. And then I'm not sure, because he said that was his only contact, but his next phone call was to Kiely's grandma. And so I'm not sure if the aunt gave her that number or what, but he called the grandma and again was just above and beyond respectful with her as well. And then it showed them, they called law enforcement, and when they were on the shore, the dad and the grandpa were there, and they were very respectful to them as well. They answered their questions, and the dad was upset. One of the first things he said was, how the hell did they miss it? When the law enforcement divers and everybody had been out there. And they explained, because they were asking, like, could you tell if there was foul play and things like that. And Adventures with Purpose explained, like, it's a crime scene. Our job is to find where, and we've done that, and now it's up to law enforcement. So, and then also it shows they had clearer and longer footage. I showed you the other day in my speculation video. There had been questions about the front tires turning or not. And in the video that I showed you from Gisela's channel, we can just see a little bit and we can see that the tire is turning. But in this video, you can clearly see the front tires are in fact turning as it comes out of the water. And then as it is pulled up on shore, they continue to turn the front and the back. So if we go over the mom's statement again about them not contacting them, they did not have her information to contact her. Again, I will say they are wonderful. And when she says that they have made a spectacle out of her daughter's death in a quest to make themselves heroes, they have not. This was handled with so much respect, and they made every effort not to make a spectacle out there. They wanted it to be as quiet and as covert an operation as absolutely possible. They did not want to alert anyone in the area to what was going on. So, they could have caused a spectacle. I mean, he could have been, yelling like, "We got a car," but he didn't. They turned off all their phones. And they're not making themselves out to be heroes. They're not. They didn't want this outcome. And yes, they're glad that they were able to get the family the answer of where their daughter was, but they're not trying to be heroes. And they're not making this their story. They were very respectful to the family, to Kiely, everybody involved in this video. So I had talked about before, as far as notifying the family, they notified the person that they had contact information for. They notified the dad and the grandpa because they were there on the ground when they came back to shore. And I said, place some blame at the feet of law enforcement for not informing the mom. But I said then, her ex-husband didn't call her, her dad didn't call her, and now we know the aunt and the grandma knew. So if you want to be upset about not being notified, there's a long line of people that knew that could have notified you. Yes, is it horrible that you found out from a waitress in a sushi restaurant because she saw it on social media? Absolutely. But you don't need to channel your anger at them. They handled this the best way they could. They contacted who they could. And I'm sure that they thought that the people they contacted would contact the mother. So that's really all I have to say. Like I said, join their YouTube channel. It's worth the $4.99. And let me know your thoughts after watching the video. I feel like there's definitely a strong case for foul play here. I really do. I have a lot of questions about law enforcement. When did this Nick guy see her? That date is very important. I'm very interested in Jagger's phone information. There's so many questions now. And I just hope that this investigation is done properly and we find out what really happened at Prosser Reservoir. It doesn't feel like an accident anymore. It just doesn't. So thank you for joining me here for my thoughts on the video. And like I said, leave me your comments and let me know what you think after you watch it, whether it be now or when it's released to the public in the first part of September. I'm very interested to see what your thoughts are on the situation now. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.